Hello and welcome back to Reality Check. This is a channel that cares for hearts and minds. Every week we have conversations around mental health in the areas of family, relationships and marriage, and the workplace, and in general as an individual. My name is Rachel Mwine, I'm your host, and I'm joined by Dr. Evas Atwine, who is a trained therapist and the founder of International Center for Mental Health and Family Care. If you have conversations or challenges around mental health in those areas, she is the person to contact, and we'll be linking our contacts in the description box. So be sure to reach out to her and a team of trained therapists that she works alongside. So today we are going to be discussing a rather sensitive subject. It's not uncommon to hear people saying, in relationships, if my partner ever cheats, if my partner is ever unfaithful, that's the end of the relationship. I am out. We are done. And so infidelity in relationships or unfaithfulness is usually considered a deal breaker. And today, as requested by some of you, you did send us some messages, some comments saying, we should talk about this issue. How does one navigate a relationship after they have suffered infidelity? And so we thought it would be wise for us to tackle it. And so welcome to the show, Dr. Evas.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Infidelity, one of those words or experiences that triggers all sorts of emotions, from betrayal to disappointment to hurt. Maybe as a starting point, what is considered infidelity in relationships?
What is considered? So infidelity, not much science really.
Yeah.
We all know it. It's unfaithfulness. It is. Maybe I should start it from the conversation we had last week, or we've had it many times. We've talked about faithfulness and the importance of trust
In a relationship.
in a relationship. You've heard me say that marriage or intimate relationships are very risky. It's a very risky business because we put in all. We put our lives, all our entire lives in this project. So we put our entire lives in this relationship. It's an investment. It's a big, big investment. And the number one thing is to trust the person you have
Absolutely.
entrusted your life with.
Yeah.
And again, you have also heard me say, there's no person that gets in a relationship and desires to be
Cheated on.
Yeah. And so, so that's where it begins, because trust and security, which I mentioned a couple of times before, is the number one expectation in a relationship, because you have given all, you've invested everything, so you really want to have this relationship secure. Secondly, there's no person in this world, unless they have a mental disorder, that would want to share a partner. No one. No one. Not even the biggest cheat. No. No one. All of us want to have a relationship with one person. So when that happens, when cheating or infidelity happens, infidelity is, you asked me to define it, and so which forms does it take? Number one, emotional infidelity. Sometimes people think that infidelity is only when you have a physical relationship with someone. But there is also emotional, because we connect at emotional level. That's why sometimes you hear people say, I was just flirting. It's
nothing.
just.
Yes.
It's not. It's not, because it is a diversion of interest from one person to another. And relationships, intimate relationships, are about both emotional resources as well as physical presence and physical life. So you can't say just flirting. So there is what we call emotional infidelity. And so there is that. But then there is also the physical cheating, where and if physical cheating doesn't go alone, it goes with emotions.
Emotional,
And
yes.
so it always begins at emotional level.
Yeah.
So you get an interest, you get emotionally connected with someone, and then the last part is for physical intimacy. So that's so it is those two out of our official, or is it official relationship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Official relationship.
The relationship that you have, the primary relationship that you have, then we go secondary. We go with other people other than our
person.
partners.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it kind of encompasses really what we are discussing today, the emotional and then the physical. The other thing that comes to mind when we are discussing this subject is the reasons that people give for being unfaithful and cheating. And I want us to kind of discuss those. What are some of the reasons you've had that people give for being unfaithful? You joked earlier that are they reasons or excuses?
Are they reasons or excuses?
Yes.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But I'll say outright that it's much of it is really excuses. Or maybe all of it is excuses.
Yeah.
And can I tell you what? I'm going to give them, but let me first tell you. If each person was to have a reason for cheating, everyone would be cheating.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have perfect marriages. And so and again I've mentioned it on this show that that relationships are a platform for learning, for improving, for being better versions of ourselves. And there is no relationship in this world that has the greatest potential to make us better people like
intimate relationships. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we go out, then we are saying this thing is not perfect. I'm looking for another thing to top up.
Yes.
So we top up the relationship. But let me give you some of the reasons or excuses that I've had. Number one, I'm bored. My marriage is boring. It is boring.
I need some excitement.
Yeah, I need to just feel some excitement outside. Marriage can get boring at some point.
That's true.
But are you sure going out
is the solution?
Yeah. Because I always check with people, what do you need to make your marriage exciting? And turns out they probably haven't put in much. So most of the time people are expecting their partners to make the marriage better, but they don't know that actually whatever you need, you have to sow it in that relationship.
That's true.
Sow it there. You need excitement, sow it there.
Yeah.
Sow it there. Don't divert resources to go and now look for it somewhere else, because the person you're going with is also human.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's because people haven't spent more time with the other person,
Yes.
or they have fewer issues to deal with.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. So we all start marriage on an excitement mode, which is important. Very, very important. Actually, the first 1 to 2 years of marriage is supposed to be that.
Yes.
Please mark my word. It's supposed, because sometimes partners are fighting so much during those first years.
Yes.
But those first years are, because marriage goes in phases. Yeah. So we start with the excitement mode. We get into discovery mode, and then at that time you're discovering this, you're discovering that, because it's no longer this perfect partner you saw. Because whenever we are doing premarital counseling, I ask people, they say, oh my God, this is that. And indeed, it is.
Yes.
But then the thing is, you haven't discovered much of who they are.
Yeah.
So when you come from a marketing stage, which is dating, and then you get to live with someone Monday through Sunday, or through another Monday, then it's going to be routine.
Yeah.
Right? You're no longer hanging out at Cafe Javas or all these restaurants in town. Now you are together Monday through Sunday. That's number one. Number two, you are managing. Now it changes from marketing to management stage. So management stage, now there's so much to manage. You have bills, you have what, you have children maybe, you have so many, you have rent, so many things are happening. And so people get bored. So they keep looking for the excitement
that was there in the beginning.
In the marketing stage, and they don't get it. So they go like, oh, it's no longer as exciting. And so that's one of the reasons people
go outside.
Go out. And they are still looking for marketing.
Yes, that excitement phase.
That excitement. But then the second reason, which is very interesting, is they say our sex life. Oh, that's a big one. Because no one can verify that.
Can verify, yes.
Yes. So if someone say our sex life is, we always look for something that is unverifiable. And then, you know, we just put it on someone else. Now, when they say our sex life, again, us as therapists, we check what's happening to the sex life. You see? And turns out, by the way, I have to warn you that in infidelity, the person, the perpetuator, is that the right word? The person involved in cheating will never, at least I haven't met one who says, I'm the problem.
Really?
No. It's always the other person. It's either
they
this,
made me do it.
Yes. So much of it is because of that. So we get perverted, but then we can't own up. So it's always, can I blame the marriage or the person, or, you know, something has, except me. Women, something common with women is they say, I've lost connection. I feel we are disconnected. And disconnection is very normal. In any relationship. And actually, let me say to the viewers that we all disconnect at some point. We are not always connected all the time. No. There are moments when either you get taken up. There's so much that happens in life that we disconnect at some point. And so when you feel disconnected, that's a moment to get back and reconnect. Because there's something that brings connection. You know, spending time together, having deeper conversations, you know, what we call emotional level conversations, not logistical. but we all plunge into logistical or even cliche kind of relationship mode, where it's hello, good morning, good night, or you don't even see each other because of the busyness of life. And later on, we can improve a little bit and go into what we call logistical relationship mode, where it's about pick children, get bread, we have no sugar, fuel is done, my car needs service. That can actually, you feel disconnected because we don't connect at logistical level, right? And so when a relationship turns either cliche or logistical, people get bored. They feel disconnected. And for women, we feel it more. And most of the time, women go to their husband and say, I feel we're disconnected. I feel distant. I feel we're distant. And men don't understand that. Get it, especially when we say emotion. Men say, I have no emotions. Why are you telling me about emotions? But that is very important because I always ask people, when you were trying to win this person over, did you tell them sugar is done, water there's no,
I have no fuel?
You have no fuel? No. You said I love you. You said
I like your dress.
I like your dress. I like how you look, and that's where we connect. That's where the human part of us connects. Right? Now, when people feel disconnected, then they get that temptation. Please mark my word, I'm not condoning cheating.
For sure.
No. I'm saying, and I really want to make this point very, very strong, that it's dangerous for us to outsource. When we outsource that service in marriage, that's a recipe for disaster. And so that's why I will tell you that every time we think about, oh, we are disconnected, I feel bored, it's a reminder for us to do something in our marriage. And that's why I always say, there's no reason for cheating. No, it's all an excuse. Because you see, whatever you're going out to do, you can do it here. The other reason actually men give for cheating is conflict at home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm sure my brothers are going to struggle me for this when I say there's no reason. But it can be very frustrating when a man can't come home. Sometimes, by the way, that's complex. But let me mention it, that conflict at home, like every time they come home, it's, you know, chaos. It's war zone.
Yes.
Yeah, war zone. War zone. So they find it peaceful to stay away. And in staying away can be very tempting. So you find that they disconnect. However, I don't want to make plain statements, because sometimes the conflict that is at home has been caused by two people who have not resolved it. You see, and I think in one of our conversations, was it communication in marriage, where or conflict management, where there is a problem in marriage, you haven't resolved it, and you choose to run away. So men tend to find hideouts somewhere, either it's work or bar or somewhere, and so they say, if I come home, my wife is a nag, you know, nagging. I think you've heard nagging. But of course, sometimes there are genuine cases where someone is just a conflict person, and so the home, there's no peace at all. Now there is a temptation for someone to try and go somewhere and connect with someone, but is it justifiable? No. Absolutely not. Every time there is infidelity in a marriage, there are two things. Either there's a problem in the marriage or a problem in the person. Right? Okay. And on over 90%, it is the person. Right?
The person who has cheated?
Who has cheated. Because this is about our values. It's about our personal values. Now, when we talk about personal values, we're talking about our standard of right and wrong.
Correct.
Now, if your standard of right and wrong permits cheating, you're going to cheat. Whether you have a partner made in heaven
or not,
you're going to cheat. Because your personal values permit it. Because you see, there are people, now when we talk about personal values, we also have non-negotiables. So when we have a personal values, I'll say, I can't do this, this is bad, this is, maybe this I can do. But there's where we say this is a non-negotiable. Now, if for me, cheating is a non-negotiable, even if my partner did whatever they did, I wouldn't cheat. Right? And so the people's personal values are the number one reason
that they eventually
cheat. Whether they have challenges and in any case, we don't have a perfect marriage.
There's no perfect marriage.
There's no perfect marriage. So whoever cheats because their marriage is not perfect, that's a lie. That's a very big lie. So please note that it's either something in the marriage or
with the person. And more likely than not, it's usually with the person.
It's your moral stature. So if somebody's moral stature allows them to do that, they will always cheat.
So Dr. Evas, what I hear you saying is, if and when somebody decides to be unfaithful, that it says a lot about their moral values or their moral stand. Do you think there are scenarios where somebody does not believe in cheating or being unfaithful, but their partner has, quote unquote, forced them because of the way they are treating them in the relationship and even the conflict that you alluded to earlier, forced them to go and be unfaithful?
Well, let me first acknowledge that Well, there are moments in relationship, or there are certain relationships where people really treat each other quite treacherously. And yeah, so there is that. They're pushed into a place of temptation. But is it justifiable? Still ultimately choice. You see, life is not comfortable.
No.
We all are tempted to steal.
Yes.
Yes, we are tempted to steal. We are tempted to do unbelievable things. The issue is, do we give in?
Yes.
Maybe we don't.
Yeah.
So that's why all of life is about choices. So we make choices. So whether your partner has pushed you into this and this, ultimately you have a choice to make. And I want to make it clear once again that at a certain time in life, everyone is tempted.
That's true. Yeah.
So number one, that's why the way we manage life, we try to avoid temptation. We even pray.
Yes.
What we say.
Lead us not into
Lead
temptation.
us not into temptation.
Yeah.
So we pray that we are not led into temptation, but we also have to pray that we do not yield to temptation.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, once we know, and I'm very sure we're going to talk about this, the dangers of infidelity. Now, from a psychology standpoint, we believe, and that's why we do this, that we change or we make choices based on understanding. Understanding what? One, our power to protect ourselves from certain bad choices, but also understanding the consequences of certain choices. So if we said, oh, this person stole because of this, it reminds me when we had just had twins, an elderly lady came to me and said, Kat, now that you have twins, even if you stole, they know that you're stealing for the children.
The children, wow.
You understand?
Yeah.
And do you hear that?
Yeah.
That's a mental outlook to life, and so it all depends on how we view things.
That's true.
Because our mind, our outlook to life is going to determine the choices we're going to make. So that can actually set me off to go and on a wrong path and steal and say, oh, I'm stealing for the children, I'm stealing for, and this is happening even in relationships.
Yes.
So people say, I was driven into this. You could be driven, but you still have power.
Yep.
That's why we always talk about the 90-10% principle. Life is 190% governed by you.
That's true.
Right? So you still have power. 10% what you have no control over, how your partner treats you. But we have to know that ultimately we have 90% power to make good choices.
That's true.
Right? Yeah, so whether you're driven or not, you can still make a decision because you make certain considerations. You have to make certain considerations. So yes, you're driven, but no, it can't be the reason.
There's an outlook that we were discussing earlier, the concept of men being allowed to cheat, quote unquote. I'm curious to hear what you think about that as a therapist, because I'm sure in people not taking responsibility, it has come from that notion that, but look, I kind of have permission, as a man, because society has maybe given you that permission in some shape or form. So I'm curious to hear what you think about that.
So our moral stature is shaped by our environment and so many things that happen. But that's what we talk about, what reinforces your mental green light to certain things. So again, that's one of them. So you hear people say, oh, men can cheat. And men also believe they have to cheat. And some of them have taken it to a whole other level, and they've said, oh, us, we cannot control ourselves. Oh, us, But all that is deception.
Yeah.
It is deception. There's no person that has permission to cheat. Now, if you wish, if when people are getting married, when you're trying to get someone, supposing you told them, I'm going to cheat on you,
would
would they
still
marry
go
you
ahead and marry
and
you?
marry
Probably
you?
not.
Yeah, so all that is deception. And you know, life has so many contradictory perspectives. But there's no person who can. Life is about self-regulation.
That's true.
And self-regulation is skill. Is skill. And every time we tell people that they cannot regulate themselves, we actually setting them up for that dysfunctionality. Because when we are yesterday, I was talking to some people, and some of them were saying, "Oh, me, I can't control my anger," you know.
Wow.
And I said, "You can.
Yeah.
You can." I say, "No, I can't control my anger." I said, "What?" And I tried to help them to understand some of the simple little ways we control anger, like taking deep breath. But this person said, "Me, I can't even take deep breath." Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it is our
condition.
we have conditioned ourselves to believe that we can't. So it's the same thing as that whole notion of men are allowed to cheat. What do you mean they are allowed to cheat? That's not true.
No,
That's absolutely not true.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some of them have believed it.
Yeah.
But you know, what happens is that the society that is instigating you to cheat, they cannot solve the drama that you get into.
They will
afterwards.
demonize you for
You see?
Yes.
Yeah, they will. They have no control over what. So you make personal decisions and pay the cost of consequences.
Yeah.
You see? So society can't come and help you when your marriage is wrecked, when your children are depressed because of what is going on. And, you know, all these consequences have to be put into consideration.
Is it possible to have a relationship that is secure from unfaithfulness? I think maybe couples might be wondering, those that are watching, how do I secure my marriage from unfaithfulness? How do I not drive my partner into the arms of another woman or the arms of another man, even though they have choice and, you know, the onus is upon them to make the right decision?
You see, I don't think that should be the motive in marriage. Because if you set yourself up to do things so that your partner doesn't cheat, that's I'm not so sure that should be our aim. I think the most important thing in marriage, and I'll tell you, the most important thing in marriage should be to be a good human being.
Absolutely.
And we should be mindful of how we treat each other. How do we treat each other? So I should purpose to treat my partner well, right? Not to do things so that he doesn't cheat. No, I can't control what he does. I can only control my choices. I can't control his choices. And actually I think that's why I'll tell you, let me not say I think, I know. That's why most of us are frustrated. Most people are so frustrated because they feel they've done everything to prevent their partner from cheating, and they've still cheated. And I want to make that point very clear. None of us has control over another person's choices. Just be a good human being. Treat your partner well. And when he cheats or she cheats, it's not about you. As a matter of fact, whenever I'm doing therapy and I'm dealing with this painful situation, the number one thing the other partner feels, the afflicted partner, the affected partner, number one thing is to think that they are responsible for this person's cheating. That's not true. That's not true. And they say, oh, this and that, maybe I didn't do this, maybe. Look, and I made this point earlier. Even if someone allows to yield into the temptation of cheating, even if you are packed, wrapped from heaven, dropped here, they will still cheat. And so you can't say you're the reason for them cheating. Probably you're the reason for temptation but you're not the reason for their
they made the
cheating. They
choice.
made the choice to cheat. So it is not that. Now, I really, because if we set people up to say, do this so that your partner doesn't cheat, so do this so that, now I want to emphasize, however, that it's important to treat each other well.
For sure.
We need to understand that people connect with us emotionally, and when we make them wounded emotionally, we set them up.
Yeah.
But we don't make the choice for them.
Yeah.
Right? So let's be good human beings. And that's my message to couples always. Please be mindful of how you make your partner feel. Do you make them feel respected? Do you make them feel frustrated? Do you make them, like, how do they feel? It's a simple thing, but it's powerful.
For sure.
Because if, I mean, my partner may be struggling with what, he may have weaknesses and all. But in that situation, how do I make them feel? Do I make them even feel worse or desperate or what? So if he's struggling, if he has challenges, if maybe some of the things he has made wrong choices, maybe bad investments or anything, how do I respond?
Yes.
You know, how am I a helper? How am I of support to this person? Do I belittle them? So as a matter of fact, there are people in marriages who feel absolutely deflated, completely deflated. And so it happens. But no one should ever think that there are so many things you're going to do
to stop someone from being unfaithful.
However, there is, for instance, where there is intimacy, deprivation of intimacy, and someone is just stubborn, and I mean, you hear all these excuses of this and that, and you know, I don't feel like. So again, I want to make a bigger statement and say, please, let's be good human beings. Let's be considerate. Let's be respectful. Let's be human. Let's be kind. Let's be compassionate. You know, let's be empathetic. Let's be empathetic. And this reminds me to speak to my brothers once again, because sometimes you have you've hurt your partner, and then you come, and all you want is intimacy. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? There are people who solve conflict just through sexual intimacy. That doesn't happen. And then they say, if now in my marriage, I don't feel connected. Then now I have to look for someone else. That's not true. So let's try to treat each other well. But our number one motive should not be to prevent the other person. No. Do the right thing. For the sake of the right thing, but you're not going to do it just because you want to protect, to prevent. No, you can protect by being a good partner, but you cannot stop someone if they, for instance, choose to just be errant and pick someone else. You have no
control over it.
You have no control over it.
One of the questions that triggered this conversation or prompted this conversation is, how do I navigate a relationship after infidelity has happened? Because, like I said at the beginning, for many people this is a deal breaker, and you mentioned it, that relationships are built on trust, and therefore trust has been broken. And yet, you know, I want my marriage to work, or I want my relationship to work. What are some tools that they can employ to begin to find healing and maybe get back to a loving, healthy relationship?
Sure. I'll tell you that infidelity destabilizes a great deal. It's absolutely devastating. 100%. Very devastating. And no one can risk. I can't risk diminishing it or, you know, trying to make it sound simple. It's terrible. Because it is betrayal, it is broken trust. And that's where I started from. I told you that we all connect in this partnership from the standpoint of trust. And security. However, things happen. So for so many reasons, either the person's moral, whatever they were tempted. There are some good people. I think I've read a book, Why Good Men Cheat. Yeah, and I don't think there's one on why good women cheat.
Because more likely than not, people suspect that it's the men who
And
cheat.
that's not true.
It's not true.
It's
yes.
not true.
Yeah.
Also, I think the men have really been put on the spot.
Yeah.
For this, people think it's only men that cheat. Women cheat.
They do.
So much.
So much, yeah.
So much. But your question was, how do people navigate it? I really encourage that people seek professional therapy.
Yes.
Professional help.
Yeah.
Now, when this happens, so many things happen. When infidelity strikes in a marriage, partners get destabilized, horribly destabilized, and you know, it is highly understandable. And so there is always a temptation to run to the best man, run to this one, run to the church, run to. Now, my point is, please be careful. Be careful who speaks into your marriage at this point, because this is a very delicate junction.
Yeah.
Very delicate point. Emotions are all over the place, and so much pain. People are dealing with so much pain, and so this is very delicate that someone needs to speak to a professional person. And again, you know, all the advice that is on the market. You know, someone will tell you, hey, it's because you didn't do this, it's because you didn't do this. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that whoever is cheating, much of it is an excuse. Yeah. Or maybe all of it is an excuse. And so even the person cheating needs a lot of help. And they need professional help, because we navigate so much. We are able to, we do a lot of analysis. We are able to help people professionally. So if you find yourself in the hands of someone that may be overwhelmed, as well, they are going to tell you anything and everything. And this is a place where someone needs to make good decisions. So the number one thing is to seek professional help. You know, how can they? Now, let me again tell you, Rachel, that trust is built. It's a building project. Yes. You see, we talk about building trust. And sometimes it breaks. Yeah. So and so we also need to know that happens. And I'm careful to say this, but I'll say it. It happens. It happens, and it doesn't mean that the relationship will break completely. So I know so many couples, of course, many individuals, and rightly understood that they will put it as a deal breaker. But people heal. We fall sick and get well. People recover from cancer. We recover from devastating situations physically. And so people recover from infidelity. But number one, it's very important for two parties to own up, especially the person who cheated. Who cheated. And it's very important to calm down and listen to each other. Now, when again emotions are raging, it's very difficult, but it's important to listen to each other, especially the person cheating. Please understand the emotions on the other side, right? Now, whenever that determines whether they survive this challenge or not. Because whenever the person finds out, they're going to be devastated. And now this one cheating, that's when they want to bring up an issue to say, do you know, because you did this, you know, you pushed me. That's
not the right time.
Not the right time. Please first sit and listen to how this person is feeling and validate their feelings. Validate the feelings. But if you get dismissive, that's when some people start, because, you know, who doesn't cheat? You know, that's not, if you get dismissive, you can't survive that moment. This is a moment of extreme humility. right?
Yeah.
Extreme humility. Now, I'll tell you what, every person involved in infidelity doesn't want it to be found out.
Really?
Right, yeah, doesn't want it. Because this is not something you just flag,
You walk
unless
around
really
proud, yeah.
you've taken it to a whole other level.
Yeah.
But they're hiding it. But as it were, it will always come out.
Yeah.
It will always come out. And so when it gets found out, please humble yourself. This is a moment of utmost humility. If you want your relationship to heal, right? If you want the relationship to heal. So, how many things have I talked about?
Getting help.
Getting help.
Humble yourself.
Humble yourself.
Yes.
Don't get dismissive. Listen to the other person.
Yeah.
Very, very important. And also understanding that, I also mentioned this, let me repeat it. People knowing that trust is broken, but it can be rebuilt.
Yes.
You see,
Yes.
in the science of building, things get down and they get rebuilt.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I always encourage couples, and I use an example of war zones. You've seen cities broken down; they are
Yes.
just brought down. But do you know that when a rebuilding project gets done, you can actually put up a better structure?
This is true.
You see,
Yeah.
you can put up a better structure. So I always use that illustration that if hearts are willing, you can actually build a better thing.
Yeah.
Now, that's also a moment for people to navigate. What are we doing right? What are we not doing well? All the issues you've talked about, how we lead each other into temptation. It can also be a point where it's a redefining moment for the relationship. And let me tell you, couples can have a great relationship after infidelity. So it's not like a death sentence. No. If you choose to be mature, to look at situation, to separate the what from the who, separate the issues in your relationship and address them, understand each other, learn to communicate, learn to confront each other in a healthy way, they can have a great relationship.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I mean, you said something that stuck with me. I think the best line for that rebuilding would be if the two parties are willing.
They have to be willing.
Yeah, they have to be willing. And I think one of the things that will happen usually when you're exposed is you're either dismissive or defensive.
Yeah.
And so if you can humble yourself and come to a place of humility, then it's possible for you to rebuild an even better relationship. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Evas. I think this has been eye-opening for a lot of the couples, and to you that asked the question or left a comment in our comment section for us to be able to discuss this. I hope this has helped. Of course, we cannot exhaust it, and I'm sure this conversation will be back in another form. But thank you so much. Let us know in the comments what your highlight has been from this conversation. And if you'd like to share it with someone perhaps going through a similar situation, please feel free to do that. I did mention earlier, please subscribe to this channel. It helps us bring you more content, but also spread the word to others who haven't yet discovered this channel. I keep seeing people in the comments saying, oh, I've just discovered this channel. I didn't know it existed. So please subscribe and share it with someone you think might find it helpful. We'll be back next week with another conversation right here on Reality Check. Until then, stay well, stay healthy. And if you have any challenges, ICFCL is the place to go to. Bye-bye.